Hello viewers and welcome to another match of Warhammer 40,000 Conquest. My name is Mitch and I am the Hive Tyrant. Today, sent in by the player positioned at the bottom of our screen, we see Colonel Straken played by Søren Pedersen. He's pit against Eldorath Starbane run by Martin Kriegsbaum. Planet number 1 is Yavarn, which forces both players to put an army unit into play directly from their hand into their HQ, and initiative resides with our Astra Militarum player. Søren's first deploy action is to lay down a copy of Snakebite Thug at planet number 1. Now he's got a 2-cost, 1 command icon 3/4 positioned at that Tricon colored planet. Granted, it deals itself a point of damage after resolving an attack, but especially considering he's got initiative, that's going to be something possibly rather difficult for Eldorath to deal with. But Eldorath responds by putting out a copy of Wild Rider Squadron positioned at planet number 2. It costs twice as much at 4 resources. It's got identical stats at 1 command icon and being a 3/4. As a combat action, it can move to an adjacent planet, and considering that Eldorath has upgraded his HQ with a copy of the 2-cost unique Eldar faction support Deathly Web Shrine, now when the Wild Rider moves from possibly planet number 2 to planet number 1, for the cost of exhausting your Web Shrine, you can exhaust an enemy army unit at that same destination planet. So the Wild Rider could exhaust the Snakebite Thug, it could swing for 3, and even though Straken is going to be maintaining initiative, it's going to make it relatively difficult for Straken to end up winning that planet. We've got a copy of Void Pirate at 3 for Eldorath, that's going to be an early game +1 card bonus, and we've got a Rogue Trader at 4 for Straken for a +1 resource bonus. We've got a second copy of Snakebite Thug positioned at planet number 5 for our AM player. Both of our players are deciding where exactly they want to send their respective warlords. Do bear in mind that planets 1 and 2 are 3-color planets, and planet number 3 could be either player's victory condition if one of our 2 players ends up sweeping those first 2 planets. Do note that we've got a copy of the 0-cost limited AM support troop transport in Straken's HQ, so that means he's going to be able to pop that support, sacrifice it as an action in order to put 2 1/2 soldier trait guardsman tokens at any planet he would like, provided that it's a green planet. If it's any other color, it's just going to be 1 token, but if it's alongside Straken, they do get his +1 attack value boost, which would make them 2 2s. Looks like Eldorath and Straken both decided to go to planet number 3, which works out unfavorably for Straken, considering 1 command icon means that Eldorath wins command at that planet. Planet number 1 is going to be a resource for Straken, planet number 2 is going to be a card for Eldorath, planet number 3, note that Eldorath's ability doesn't have any eligible targets. Planet number 3 is going to be a couple of resources and 1 card for Eldorath. As we move into our combat phase, that's going to be a planet 1 for Straken, 1 icon of each color added to his victory display, and no planetary trigger. Planet 4 is going to be a total of 2 resources, 1 card for Straken, and planet 5 was a couple of resources for Straken as well. Straken, with initiative, uses his first action to retreat from that planet, as opposed to taking a swing and killing the Void Pirate at that planet. The obvious problem with attacking and killing off that enemy economy unit would be that that Wild Rider Squadron could then move to that planet. Eldorath could attack for 1, the Wild Rider Squadron could have attacked for 3, and that practically would have been a bloodied Straken. Do note that as we are in the process of going through our HQ phase, looks like that Wild Rider Squadron prior to the completion of round number 1, it used its action to shift from planet 2 to 3, so it's now nicely positioned at planet number 2. We've got a copy of Rogue Trader that was routed because a battle at Farron was won by Eldorath, and now it's going to be that squadron and the Void Pirate positioned at planet number 2, a possible victory condition for Straken if he manages to win win planet number 1, the healing planet, Iridial, and let's see what either of our players decide to do. Straken's got a copy of Staging Ground in his HQ from the previous round. It's a 1-cost support that can allow you to deploy an up to 2-cost army unit from your hand during combat, which is always fantastic. When combined with something like troop transport, you can definitely change the mathematics of combat considerably. Eldorath upgrades his HQ yet again with a copy of Bone Singer Choir, so it's a 2-cost support. Whenever you play a drone or vehicle trait army unit, you could exhaust it to decrease that unit's requisite cost by 2, albeit down to a minimum of 1. At planet number 1, we've got a sort of seldom seen army unit. It's going to be a copy of the Death Corps Engineers. So for the cost of 2, it's a 0 command icon 2/3. I believe it's a soldier, and as an action, you can basically sacrifice it to destroy an exhausted enemy support. So that Deathly Web Shrine, after it exhausts a unit, like if the squadron were to move from 2 to 1, the Death Corps, they don't need to exhaust to be sacrificed. You could blow up the Deathly Web Shrine. Looks like Eldorath hasn't deployed any drones or vehicles, so the Bone Singer Choir is not eligible to be destroyed, but we've now got a pair of Warlock Destructors at 1, and it looks like we're not quite yet to our command phase. So the healing planet is on the line. Together, those 2 Warlock Destructors have a total of 2 command icons. They're Psychers, so they enable Eldorath to use Mind War, and they're 3/4s. Granted, you've got to pay a resource to keep them on the battlefield during the following round's deploy phase, but for the time being, they're just providing an incredible value for the resources you're getting. So, looks like Eldorath decides to go to planet number 1. He exhausts the Death Corps Engineers. Planet number 5 is going to be Straken's destination, and Straken is going to bring with him that copy of Rogue Trader as well as his Snakebite Thug. So, Eldorath is going to win a total of 1 card at planet number 1, 1 card, 2 resources from planet number 2. Planet number 3 is going to be a push, neither player winning anything. Planet number 4 is going to be a couple of resources there for homeboy Straken, and planet number 5 is going to be a couple of cards and 1 resource won by Straken. At planet number 1, note that Eldorath has the initiative token. He's going to be able to absolutely wreck that Death Corps Engineers. They are indeed destroyed. Are we going to see anything along the lines of Staging Ground or Troop Transport and or Elysian Assault Team come into play? Absolutely no idea, but Wild Rider Squadron shifts over to planet number 3. Eldorath bounces back to the HQ, and Eldorath unfortunately does not have any, well, I can't really say it's unfortunate he doesn't have any units to heal, because it sucks to take damage more often than not in this game, at least when you're playing Eldar, but suffice it to say, Eldorath wins Iridial. There are no units eligible for healing on the entire board, so he does no healing whatsoever. Straken is going to end up winning that battle at planet number 5. Eluith triggers. That is going to be Straken having the opportunity to look at the top 3 cards of his deck, to add one of those to his hand, and to put the remaining 2 on the bottom of his deck in the order of his choice. HQ phase comes and goes. That's going to be 2 cards, 4 resources for each of our players, not Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, which would be a better form of currency in my overweight teen opinion. Planet number 1 is now Farron, the Route, a planet. Just to clarify, I'm not a teenager and I'm not overweight anymore. Planet number 5, anyways, is Barlas, the Forced Random Card Discard planet. And let's see, we've got a deploy phase underway. So is Eldorath going to spend 2 resources to save both of those Warlock Destructors? It looks like he only decides to spare one of them. So what Straken here is going to have to do is Straken could potentially win planets 2 and 3, which are green, and that would mean 3 strong point icons in his victory display. Do note that the Wild Rider Squadron is again positioned at planet number 2, having moved the previous round. It's got a fantastic threat range. It can fight at 2, it can fight at 1 or 3, depending on wherever the enemy warlord goes or wherever you need reinforcements. We've got a copy of Bealtan Guardians now at planet number 3, so for the cost of 1 resource, we've got a 1/1 with 2 command icons, and 2 command icons, of course, trumps the 1 associated with that opposite Snakebite Thug, which certainly sucks for the double the cost unit. At planet number 5, we've got one of the Warlord friends. It's the Orc version thereof. It's going to be the 2-cost Evil Sunz Warbiker, so it's a 2/2 with a command icon. When a Warlord is present, it gets a +2 bonus until the enemy until a Warlord leaves. We see another troop transport added to Straken's HQ, and that makes it all the more dangerous for fights to be taking place at those green planets, because if there's some big battle, we can now see Straken potentially pop both of those and add 4 guardsman tokens, probably 2 at a time, to his reserves at that location. And again, if Straken himself is fighting, each of those tokens is going to be swinging for 2. We've got a copy of a signature army unit, the first one we've seen today at planet number 2. That's going to be Straken's command squad, rather vanilla 2-cost 2/2 with command icon, but when they die at a planet, you put a guardsman token into play there. So maybe they attack, they are exhausted, then they die. Then you put a guardsman token into play. Maybe it swings for 1, maybe it swings for 2. Straken adds a copy of Ketachan Outpost to his HQ, cost of 2. As a combat action, you exhaust it. You target one of your units. The next time it attacks, it does so with an ephemeral +2 value bonus. At planet number 1, we see a dry-played Elysian Assault team, and you never go in dry. That is a very odd choice indeed, but the Elysian Assault team are going to be able to contest the Void Pirate at that planet. I guess maybe Straken just really didn't want to use that copy of Ammo Depot. He didn't want to use that copy of Staging Ground. He did put out a copy of the 1-cost Orc Support Ammo Depot. You can exhaust it when you've got 3 or fewer cards in hand to add a card to your hand. And where exactly is Straken going to go? Planet number 2, we've got an Earthcast Technician, 1-cost 1/1. You look at the top 6 cards of your deck for a drone or an attachment, you reveal it, you add it to your hand, and it looks like the Bone Singer Choir is finally doing something, in that we've got a copy of Iend and Wraithguard played about 30 seconds ago, positioned at planet number 5. So it's going to be a modified 1-cost 4/2 Armorbane unit with a command icon, and important to note is that attachment affixed to it is going to be a copy of the same Han jet bike, so it's an additional cost of 2. But when it's attached to an army unit, you can exhaust that attachment and you move the attached unit to a planet that shares a type with the Wraithguard's current destination. So you could exhaust it and it could move to planet 2 or planet number 3. And those green planets, shit's about to get real. So let's see what exactly is going to be happening here. Straken is definitely going to want to try to win planets. Like if Straken were to go to planet number 1, he'd potentially be able to swing with a value of 4 at the Wild Riders Squadron if it were to shift over to that planet. The Iend and Wraithguard can't use its jet bike to move to planet number 1, but it looks like that was not the case. So Straken instead decides to show up at planet number 5, which is interesting. If Straken would have potentially gone to 1, he could have used the routing action of Farron to remove that Iend and Wraithguard, but Eldorath showed up at planet number 2 to again try to delay or block off his opponent's victory condition, pursue a victory condition of his own perhaps. Planet number 1, 1 command icon beats none, so that's going to be 1 card, 2 resources for Eldorath. Planet number 2 is going to be a card and a resource for Eldorath. Planet number 3 is going to be a couple of resources for I'm sorry, it looks like there's probably a copy of Promotion on that Snakebite Thug, so I can't tell for sure, but let's go ahead and call it 2 resources for Straken. Planet number 4 is going to be a resource and 2 cards for Straken, and planet number 5, owing to Straken's presence beating the Iend and Wraithguard, and by the way he commands initiative, Straken is going to win himself a couple of cards at that planet. Wild Rider Squadron moves from planet number 2 to planet number 1. Deathly Web Shrine exhausts. The Elysian Assault team is exhausted. The initiative token, I believe, resides with Straken at the moment, but it does not matter. Just like Honey Badger Badger don't care. The Wild Rider Squadron takes a swing because Straken, of course, did not have initiative. That's going to be a dead copy of Elysian Assault Team, and wouldn't you know it, another conventionally played Elysian Assault Team drops into play to replace it. Catachan Outpost augments that attack value to 4. Do we have even a single shield card in the possession of Eldorath Starbane? What sucks is Straken still got initiative, so he would have had to shield against that attack of 4, then hang around, and then shield against an additional attack of 2. So he'd have had to have two value shield cards in order to block off that effect. Turns out that is not the case. The Elysian Assault Team manages to kill a 4-cost army unit, so rather well done. At the end of the combat round, Void Pirate runs away. Farron is going to be captured by Colonel Straken, and what unit do we see routed? Is it going to be that Iend and Wraithguard? It indeed is. So that's an interesting choice, because of course Straken would have had initiative at planet number 5. The Evil Sun's Warbiker could have swung for 4, but we also could have seen the Samhain Jetbike move the Iend and Wraithguard to a different planet. And of course, when it would have arrived at that planet, it would have dealt a point of damage to an army unit at that planet, which could have been a Snakebite Thug, or I guess the Straken's command squad at planet number 2 there. So, looks like we've seen the Earthcast Technician, I believe, take a swing of 1, and that's going to be damaging the Straken's command squad. The command squad itself was exhausted. The Warlock Destructor is currently exhausted. I maybe missed a trigger in regard to the Warlock Destructor. A troop transport has been destroyed, so that's going to be 2/1/2 soldier trait guardsman tokens at planet number 2. They are soldier traits, so therefore they're Elysian Assault Team eligible, and do note that the copy of Staging Ground could be used to put something like an Evil Sun's Warbiker into play, and if that's the case, it's going to have an opportunity to swing for 4, and do note that Eldorath Starbane is now exhausted. Straken's command squad is going to be destroyed. That's going to be another guardsman token being put into play. Guardsman token, let's call it number 2, is going to attack. Copy of Foresight is discarded to block off that attack, which to me maybe seems a little bit premature. And once again, seeming ever so slightly premature, we see a second copy of Foresight being discarded to prevent Guardsman token 3's point of damage. We see Mind War used to exhaust a unit or to be used as a shield, because I can't recall if it's a non-elite army unit or if it's just a non-elite, non-warlord unit, but let's just call it another point of damage on that Warlock Destructor. I believe that is 2 in total, and now what exactly is going to be left for Eldorath here? I don't know if that Mind War was played. It would have made much more sense to just discard it as a shield card, because of course Mind War costs 1, and it has 1 shield value, and these 5 tokens at planet number 2 are only attacking for 1 apiece. So, crappy thing about these tokens is that they're each only attacking for 1, but they do have 2 hit points. The instant that Warlock Destructor is going to be destroyed, then that is going to result in Eldorath as a 1/7 and the Earthcast Technician having to fight at that planet. So after another salvo or so of attacks, the Warlock Destructor could potentially be destroyed by those tokens, and then it's going to be Eldorath taking a hell of a lot of damage if he has any chance of victory at that planet whatsoever, and the Earthcast Technician is going to be destroyed relatively easily as well. Staging Ground 2, I believe that's 6 resource tokens for Straken. That could definitely change the outcome of combat as well. So, we've got Earthcast Technician opening up, dealing a point of damage to one of those Guardsman tokens. The Warlock Destructor manages to kill a token. We've got an Elysian Assault Team being dropped into play. That seems, again, ever so slightly premature. Why not wait until the very last moment? The Elysian Assault Team decides to take a swing at Eldorath. Interestingly enough, Eldorath decides to take a swing at the, was that an Unwounded Guardsman token? I'm maybe losing track of shields. Maybe we see the M35 Galaxy Lasgun discarded as a shield to block Eldorath's attack. Warlock Destructor is going to be killed by a token. Earthcast Technician is destroyed for a token, and then it looks like Eldorath has already started to take a fair bit of damage. That's the end of the combat round. Eldorath decides to retreat. He's got to choose first because he's got initiative. That's going to be Planum 1. That's going to be a sterling opportunity for our Straken player to choose one of his non-warlord units to be located to the planet of his choice. Looks like his choice is going to be a Snakebite Thug, moved to our soon-to-be planet number 1. We're still going to be seeing a battle at Straken's planet. It's going to be the battle ability of Barlas activated to do a forced random card discard from our Eldorath player's hand, and let's see what exactly that card ends up being, and my sincerest apologies for missing some of the shielding that occurred during this combat round here. It's going to be a 5-cost elite, discarded from hand. That's the Wild Rider Viper. It's a 5/4 with 2 command icons. It's got a reaction where whenever a unit moves from its planet to another, you can move it to that planet, so that's great when combined with the jet bike. And there's certainly all sorts of shenanigans that silly little unit can get up to. But we move through another HQ phase. That's going to be 4 resources and 2 cards for each of our players. The initiative token is once again going to be, I believe, in Eldorath's possession if the orientation of our planets is anything to go by, which does happen to defy the location of our initiative token. All that Straken has got to do is win planets number 1 and planet number 2, and that is going to be the game for him, or Eldorath could win planet number 2 and planet number 4. It's not looking very likely that he's going to be able to win that nightmare of a planet number 1. We've got an Earthcast Technician at planet number 4, so that's going to be another opportunity for him to look, for Martin up north, to look for a drone or an attachment to reveal it and add that to his hand. Planet number 5, we've got another copy of a Glare Obscured Void Pirate. We've got a copy of Iron Guard Recruits positioned at that planet. 2-cost, 1/2 with a couple command icons. Means that both players are currently tied at that planet. Wouldn't be shocked to see Straken show up at that planet. We've got a copy of Iend and Wraithguard at planet number 2. We've got a second copy of Ammo Depot in the HQ of Straken. We see Bonesinger Choir again used. Thus far, I believe it's only managed to spare our Eldorath player of 4 resources, and for a 2-resource, 1-card costing support, I'm not tremendously impressed by that effect as of yet. Another Void Pirate at planet number 4 for Straken. Also at planet number 4, we've got a copy of the 2-cost, 1-command icon, 2/1 Shrouded Harlequin. When it's destroyed, you can exhaust. I believe it's as simple as a target unit, which makes it potentially fantastic for assassinating the enemy warlord. So, let's say Straken is presumably going to end up being able to win planet number 1 relatively uncontested. He could, well, if he wins that planet, he'll be able to move any of his non-warlord units to the planet of his choice. So I think some decent destinations would be Straken could go to 4 to ensure that he's going to be able to pick up 3 cards from that planet. If Eldorath goes to that same planet, then Eldorath will be able to exhaust that enemy Iron Guard recruits, and then Eldorath will have more. Well, let's see here. That would be 1, 2 versus 4 command icons, so Eldorath would win at that planet, and I believe that would be 3 cards instead for Eldorath. Well, make that 4 cards because he's got a Void Pirate in his HQ, but he'd be bringing that Iend and Wraithguard with him, and it would be exhausted, but you could use the Samhain jet bike, exhaust the attachment to move the albeit exhausted Wraithguard to a green planet, like planet number 2, to stonewall your opponent's victory condition. But at planet number 3, let's see, I believe that's an M35 Galaxy Lasgun on that Snakebite Thug, so now I believe that's actually another Lasgun on the Snakebite Thug at planet number 1. It must not have been a copy of Promotion, my bad. The Galaxy 35 Lasgun, there's, I believe, a 1-cost support. You attach it to a non-warlord unit you control. It's +1 attack, +1 hit points. When the attached unit is destroyed, you return that to your hand, and that means those Snakebite Thugs are 4/5 units. So Eldorath does decide to go to planet number 4. Straken instead decides to go to planet number 3 for the surefire thing that's, I guess, going through all the different command struggles. Planet number 1 is going to be a card and a resource, 1 for Straken. Planet number 2 is going to be a couple of resources for Eldorath. Planet number 3 is going to be a resource and 2 cards for Straken. He showed up at that location because even if Eldorath would have appeared adjacent, Eldorath would not have been able to remove a sufficient number of command icons from Straken to allow Eldorath to win the command struggle of that planet, so that may have been a rather wise move indeed for Straken there. Planet number 4, let's go ahead and call it, I believe, a grand total of a whopping 4 cards for Eldorath. Planet number 1 is going to be won by Straken. He moves his copy of Snakebite Thug from planet number 1 to planet number 4, so that's now a copy of the Snakebite Thug with that M35 lasgun, which makes it a 4/5, and therefore it's difficult to discern with all those stacked damage tokens on Eldorath, but it's entirely possible we might see a bloodying of the Eldar, I guess, enemy warlord, or if the Mighty Wraith Knight doesn't hightail it away from that planet, or not the Mighty Wraith Knight, the Wraith, the Iandan Wraith Guard, not the Wraith Guard Revenant. Too many Wraith Guards, which I don't actually mean if you're watching, Brad. Feel free to develop more. But in any case, that Wraith Guard, Wraith Bone construct could end up being destroyed by the Snakebite Thug, and then it's going to be no more than a 2/1 and Eldorath and a 1/1 at that planet, opposite the 4/5 Snakebite Thug and an exhausted Evil Sun's Warbiker and an Iron Guard recruits and a Void Pirate, and of course we've also got a copy of Catachan Outpost in play as well. Looks like Straken ended up winning his battle at not just planet number 1 but planet number 3, so he could look at the top 3 cards of his deck, add one of those to his hand, put the remaining 2 on the bottom of his deck in the order of his choice. Planet number 4, we've got a swing. The Shrouded Harlequin dealt 2 points of damage to that Snakebite Thug, and now it's going to have an opportunity to attack something. Are we going to see the Iandan Wraith Guard being removed from that planet? I suppose now is as good a time as any, but if the Iandan Wraith Guard moves from planet 4 to planet number 2, it is going to have to assign a point of damage to an army unit at that planet. So it is presumably going to be the other copy of Iandan Wraithguard, which is currently stationed at planet number 2. So at planet number 4, let's see here. The Snakebite Thug is presumably going to be attacking, and it's going to threaten to bloody Eldorath unless our Eldar player uses his action to retreat. Looks like Eldorath, I can't tell if that's 1 resource token or a stack of 2, but it's, you know, impossible to miss. We've got a copy of that, the Wild Rider Viper, that's the name, clearly positioned at the top of our Eldar player's discard pile. And what exactly is Eldorath going to do? We do see the Iandan Wraithguard relocate itself to, wow, all right then, that's the Shrouded Harlequin, which is destroyed by that point of damage. And of course, you pick an enemy unit to be exhausted, and looks like that is going to be the Snakebite Thug, and my mistake yet again, judging by the shield icons associated with that Snakebite Thug there. That's going to be a copy of the signature attachment Straken's Cunning, which gives the unit +1 attack, and when the attached unit leaves play, you draw 3 cards. So, man, Hive Tyrant making all kinds of errors in this video. We see a copy of Mind War used, I believe, to exhaust that no, okay, so that, yeah, I was going to say you have to have a Psyker trait army unit at that planet to use Mind War, so I don't believe that Mind War was used. If it was, that's an illegal play, but let's just assume that that was the Evil Sun's Warbiker, which swung for 4, -1 for 3 points of damage on Eldorath, but the Catachan Outpost was probably used, so that was a swing of 5, so I can't quite tell if Mind War was used appropriately or inappropriately. If that's only 3 points of damage on Eldorath, and it sure as hell was not used appropriately, so an unfortunate mistake there. But we've got more going on at planet number 4. We see a copy of Drone Defense System discarded as a shield. We see the Snakebite Thug is destroyed, so that's going to be a sterling opportunity there for Straken to draw 3 cards. But Straken has run out of unexhausted copies of Staging Ground. He's burned through all of his troop transports, so he is going to be able to draw 3 cards from that, but really the only great thing he can hope for is maybe some copies of Glorious Intervention, the signature event to I guess you have to sacrifice a warrior or soldier to do it, but you can prevent incoming attacks, and then you deal damage equal to that unit's printed attack to, I believe it's only an enemy army unit at that planet. But what else have we got going on at planet number 4? We come to the end of the combat round. All right, that looks like a hell of a lot of damage on Eldorath, so that must have been a Catachan outpost augmenting that Evil Sun's Warbiker, swinging for a total of 6. -1 is only going to be 5, so Eldorath might just be sitting at 1 single solitary hit point, but this coming up is going to be the victory condition planet for Colonel Straken, and Eldorath, since he's got 1 hit point, he's still going to be able to he's still going to be able to use his ability because he's hale, he's not bloodied. But Barlas is going to be triggered by our Colonel Straken player. That's going to be a forced card randomly discarded from our Eldorath player's hand. That random card discarded is going to be a Warlock Destructor. And now, what exactly are we going to see here? We've got planet number 1 being the victory condition for Colonel Straken, but planet number 2, Straken is very nicely positioned at that planet with his Elysian Assault Team, with his Tallarn Raiders, a 1 cost, 1 command icon, 0/2, but when a Warlord is present, it gets +2 attack, and if Straken is present, and ideally pleasant, it'll swing for 3, and we've also got that Snakebite Thug, which has an M35 Lasgun alongside Straken. It'll swing for a modified 5. We see a Rattling Deadeye positioned at planet number 2, and now I can only imagine that Straken is going to commit himself to planet number 2, allow Eldorath to win planet number 1 entirely uncontested. Those Iandan Wraith Guards are going to bounce to Eldorath's HQ. And then, what's Eldorath going to do? Recommit all of his forces the following round, only to be exhausted at a planet where Straken's got a ton of units that are going to be able to just absolutely curb stomp him. Eldorath is in a crappy position right now, because if he goes to planet number 1, all of his units are going to be showing up at that planet exhausted. Then they're going to bounce back to his HQ, and then he's going to deposit all of those same units at planet number 2 the following round, and they're all going to be exhausted, only to be picked apart by the legion of units that the Astra Militarum player is assembling at that planet. So Eldorath is quickly finding himself stuck between a rock and a hard place, and if Eldorath were to go to planet number 3, then he'd be dropping off a whole bunch of units that are going to end up being entirely just woefully irrelevant to combat. We do have a copy of Mobility in Eldorath's hand, which could be relatively clutch. The signature attachment there, you could stick it on one of your units, and then it gains mobility, so you can use that to shift it to a planet only when, relevant at the beginning of combat, but I mean, apart from trying to get another ready unit at that planet, you're doing that knowing full well that you're giving up your 3-value shield card, so maybe it would be worth it for one of those Iandan Wraith Guards, but alright, I guess that's what we're going to see. It's an Iandan Wraith Guard with a copy of Mobility on it. The same Han Jetbike is not going to be able to relocate one of those Wraith Guards from 1 to 2, because green does not equal blue. I'm not colorblind, I can see that clear as day, and I suppose even for our dear colorblind viewers, you can clearly discern that Thunderhammer and that, I guess, Basilisk or artillery cannon associated with the green and blue planets. They're easy enough to tell apart. So, at planet number 2, we see still more Straken-played units. We've got another signature unit for Straken. We've got a copy of Sakhalem Shrine Guard. It's a 1 cost, 1 command icon, 1/1. All right, yep, looks like that is going to be the GG right there. So congratulations to Søren Pedersen for managing to pilot Colonel Straken to victory over his dear friend Martin Kriegsbaum. Looks like the best case scenario for Eldorath would have been, I guess, using mobility to shift at the beginning of combat his Iend and Wraithguard from 1 to 2. He had a copy of his own signature arm unit, Starbane's Council there. It's a 3/3 that could have attacked for a +2 bonus against an exhausted unit, but between the Snakebite Thugs at that planet, between the Straken's command squad, between all the tokens, the Elysian Assault team that Straken had there, that he would have been dropping off, and especially considering, Eldorath himself only had 1 hit point left, Eldorath wouldn't have been able to hang on for long. Maybe our Eldorath player could have gotten a copy of Drone Defense System up and operational, but I've got the sneaking suspicion that whatever vehicle or pilot unit that Eldorath could have fixed that to would not have survived long enough for there to be a critical mass of exhausted AM units. And even though Doom is a rather powerful card, when all of your enemy units are positioned out there clearly at a victory condition planet, that is not doing you anything. And Exterminatus would have, of course, taken care of that AM infestation problem for our Eldar player, but the last time I checked, Eldar and Space Marines are quite a ways removed on the alignment wheel. So, my dear viewers, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's the first time I've commentated one of these viewer-submitted videos in quite some time. Hopefully my commentary wasn't too rusty, and congratulations again to Søren Pedersen, and thank you to him and Martin for sending in today's match. So, if you enjoyed this content, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel if you've not done so already, consider sharing this content if you are already subscribed, because the more eyes there are on these videos, the more individuals are exposed to Conquest, the bigger we may together grow our community, and we send a bigger message to Fantasy Flight Games saying, Christian Pedersen, continue to pour research and development dollars directly into Brad Andrews' pockets. So, my dear viewers, thank you for watching. I would encourage you to leave your comments letting Søren and Martin know what you thought of their decks, what you thought of their strategy. And of course, I'm always accepting and encouraging of constructive criticism and feedback for myself as well. So, if you want to get in touch on social media, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, and if you ever feel any inclination to help support the Hive Tyrant, to help me recover some of my operating and file hosting expenses, I would be honored and deeply appreciative as a starving college student were you to consider a contribution to my Patreon. So, as always, thank you so much for watching, and once again, be sure to check back in again soon for much more Conquest LCG content to come.